Well, welcome back to SB Racing and Project Kitty, aka the 1984 Crown Vic that I am building for Drag Drive Repeats The Circuit 2026, presented by Summit Racing's $3,000 cheap card challenge. Now, I know it has been a bit since I've posted any updates on Kitty, and simply it's because I have been working so hard trying to get this card done that I just haven't had time to video anything and edit. But I made some major progress over the weekend, and specifically last night, that today I felt like I just had to do a video to update everyone on what's going on, do a little bit of behind the curtain reveals of what's gone into the car, as well as a budget update later on in this video. So let's start with how it's going. So like I said, major progress over the last couple weeks, but like been a royal pain in the butt. And a lot of that goes into what took place underneath the front here. So a lot of upgrades went into the front end. And by upgrades, I mean replacing old, worn, 40-year-old components with new stuff. So this is all Crown Vic parts, and they're just new and not crusty and rusty and old and falling apart. So all new lower control arms, a new this is a junkyard steering knuckle off of a 96 Crown Vic, which allowed me to fit the bigger 4-piston or 2-piston rotors, the larger rotors, 2-piston calipers off of a newer 90s Crown Vic, as well as the adjustable upper control arm off of a 92, 96 Crown Vic. That's going to allow me to have some actual adjustability for the lowering springs that I got for this. Now, the lowering springs are, I think, SN95 Mustang lowering springs that I got from Conrad. He had them sitting around for a project that he was going to do and just never got around to. I think they're going to work, but we're going to kind of wait and see until I get it on the ground with some weight in it. If not, I still have the factory springs, which I will cut about a coil and a half off of in order to get the same height that these springs give me, but with maybe better adjustability. I'm still unsure on this. This one isn't. Of all my research, the front springs are like the most unproven on what people are using on these old square body or box Crown Vics, I think they're kind of called. But this was an adventure to try to get all these different pieces to work. They're all from Crown Vics though. Steering has all been replaced with stock 1984 steering pieces. I got to come back through and tighten everything. Yes, Nico and Jason, I still have a problem with tightening bolts, but I am getting better at that. So right now, steering is all kind of loose as I've been kind of fitting parts to it. So I think that's everything for the front. Let's go on to the back. Back also, rear axle also got some upgrades. So upgrade for the rear axle is no more drum brakes. So I was able to pull this axle off of a 96 Crown Vic from the junkyard, and that gave me the disc brakes. So that's awesome. I also did Moog, I don't remember what they are, rear springs, which will allow for lower. And then thanks to Jason Hobbs, I believe is his last name, I was able to track down these Calvert racing shocks from him for the shocks. So that was a fun marketplace find. So that's been the suspension side that has taken me entirely too long to accomplish. So, but it's done now. I'm ready to put wheels and tires back on. We're going to lower this to the ground for the first time in, about 4 weeks? And see what it looks like on lowered and on all new suspension. So I'm going to go ahead and get you set up on a tripod. Get these wheels put on. Get my quick jack controller plugged back in and get this on the ground and see how it goes. Okay, I gotta find my tripod. This not videoing for weeks has allowed stuff to accumulate in random places. Okay, let's go find the tripod. I'll be back. Okay, got the tripod, got you angled. Now, I'm sure the Kenai noticed a lot of missing parts still on the suspension. As you can see from the hanging cables under the rear, the emergency brakes have not been adapted and fitted yet. I got to work on that. Brake lines still have not been ran from the axle to the brake calipers. Same with the front. The brakes have not been, or the brake lines have not been completed up there. I did get the brake booster and master cylinder for the brakes out of a 2000s Crown Vic to replace the factory booster and master out of this 84, because with the rear discs and the bigger front discs, I need more brake. And this is a common upgrade for these Crown Vics, is to go to the newer master and booster. So I'm hopeful that will plug right in. If not, I might have to go back to the junkyard and find a 90s or 2000 late 90s, early 2000 master and booster, which hopefully will fit. I don't know. Everything I've read or looked up online, the booster and the master should work just fine. From like the 03, 04 timeframe, actually all the way up to 2011, I believe. Yeah, cool thing about the Panthers that I'm learning in the Crown Vics is, while there's not a lot of backwards compatibility or forward compatibility, there is some. And yeah, so what else? Oh, sway bars. I'm just going to use the sway bars that were on the car to put those back on. So I did get new, for the front, I did get new bushings and in links for that one. But for the rear, I'm just going to use what came off of it. Nothing fancy there. Okay, let's get the wheels and tires on the driver's side. Let's get it dropped on the ground. Here we go. The other thing I just remembered as I was putting that front wheel on is I have not put the dust caps on the wheel hubs back on. So remind me to put the dust caps on, because I'll probably forget. Back wheel time. Okay, as a reminder on the wheels and tires, these are factory aluminum 16-inch wheels off of a 99 to 01 Mercury Grand Marquis. And I picked those up at the junkyard for a total of $81.25 for those wheels. So right now they got a set of Falcon Zex 250. What size are these? Oh, 245 50 R16s. And that's just my kind of cruising tire. It's what I'll be running at the front for the circuit. However, the rears, I do have a set of Nittos that I'll be running the whole time during this circuit on the same factory aluminum wheels. So, yeah, I think they look pretty cool on the car. In the future, I'm probably going to go to a different wheel and tire package. I think they're a little too small for the car, but that's the tire size that I could find to do what I wanted. So the only downfall of running the bigger 2000s-ish, 90s, 2000s-ish rear disc brakes is I think I can't go any smaller than 16s. I want to give, so Conrad has a set of 15 by 10, 275 Nittos for his Mustang that he'll be running at the circuit that I want to put on the Crown Vic just to see how they fit, because with F-150 going under the knife over the next year or so to really get that truck where I want it to be, I might be playing more with this car after the circuit. Somewhat following in Nico's footsteps of buying a cheap car, driving a cheap car, and then throwing insane amounts of money to make it not a cheap car and go fast. So, Pueblo at Pueblo Motorsports Park has a really sweet no prep and the Steel City no prep scene that I think would be fun in this car. Probably not very competitive right now, but if I put that Turbo 351 in here, might be fun. Also, Colorado National Speedway down in Tacona, which is only about 40 minutes from me, is opening up an 8th mile track. Maybe later this year. I haven't actually heard a date on when that track's going to get opened up, but they're going to be doing no prep stuff. So again, that could be fun here. And then Julesburg actually has some kind of 8th mile stuff as well, or quarter mile no prep stuff as well. So all of that could be fun in this car. So with the 275 on the rear and Turbo 351, this could be pretty fun. So, okay, wheels and tires are on. I'm going to double check some nut and bolt check the front. I'm going to make sure I got my quick jack control pump, hydraulic pump plugged in, and then we're going to drop this on the ground. So I'm going to do that real quick. And then next thing you'll see is car on the ground. First time in 4 or 5 weeks. There's still no engine in there. No engine. It's over there in pieces still. And it's like 30 days until the circuit. I'm not panicking yet. It's just, all right, I'm panicking a little bit, but we're going to be all right. Okay. See you here as the car goes down. So clearly, you really can't see it. Hold on. All right, back on the ground. First time in 5 weeks. Clearly, we need some alignment. I don't know how well you can see. Let's go this way. Clearly, we need some alignment adjustment on the up front here, but that is the big reason why I opted to go with the adjustable upper control arms off of the 90s Crown Vic. That problem right there. That's the problem. But rear, look at the rear. Now, hopefully, when weight goes in the front, the rear will kind of level out. But right now we are tucked. Potentially too tucked. I think it's going to work. Might be a little too tucked. We'll see once the engine gets in there. We might have to make some adjustments. Maybe a spacer block or something in the spring mount to kind of help with that. But it feels so good to have this back on the ground. Feels so good. Okay. Well, that's that. Okay. Now, like I promised, we are going to go over the budget. So I'm going to grab my notes. I'm going to set you up in front of the whiteboard. We're going to go over the budget for Kitty, the Cheap Car Challenge, right now. I'm going to go and reorganize what I got here. Wheels, 8125. And Crown Vic 1150. We'll make it a little bit bigger so everyone can see. Okay, so I bought the Crown Vic for $11,000 $1,150. Next thing we're gonna do is the wheels. Those came from the junkyard and they totaled $81.25. Okay. Next, we'll go over the suspension. We're going to do that in green. So front springs were from Conrad for $50. Rear springs, those were new Moogs from Rock Auto. Those were $91.79. And the rear shocks were the Calvert Racing that I got off Marketplace for $90. The front shocks are just OEM style, just changed up the length. All right, we'll do the rear axle in rear. So I did get a 96 Crown Vic rear end that had the disc brakes, but I also got a Ford Ranger rear end that had the limited slip carrier. So I am going to say that between the two, that axle, which is a Ford 8.8, was $115 from the scrapyard. I also did replace the axle bearings and seals while I was messing with it. And those were $41.70 off Amazon. Okay. Now, so that pretty much covers everything on the car so far, budget-wise. Up next will be the engine. And that is a running item at this point. So, Ford 302. Core or junkyard price for Ford 302 for a V8 long block is $250. Now, that 302 came out of my F-150, but it's essentially a junkyard motor. Cylinder heads, which are the 40 GT40 P cylinder heads, are $60 from a junkyard. And the GT40 intake that I'll be using is $30. And these are current going rates. So anything that I got from the junkyard are current going rates as of right now, or at the time, from my local Alter. I don't know. They just got bought out. Junkyard. Okay. Up next are some internal parts for the engine. We got rod bearings. These are sealed powered rod bearings from Summit Racing at $45.99. Main bearings. Also from Summit Racing, sealed powered for $47.99. Piston rings are sealed powered that I got off of Rock Auto because I needed them kind of quick. I couldn't. 302, standard 302 piston rings are actually kind of hard to find. And maybe it's just because I was scrambling to get them, but I got those off Rock Auto and they were $77.79. Okay, camshaft. I am putting an upgraded camshaft in it. It is a Speedmaster. It's a real doozy. I'm probably going to get what I paid for, but based on the specs, it's very similar to like a B303 style camshaft. And that was on sale for $187.80. Again, probably going to get what I paid for. And then finally, I'm going to go ahead and put on some gaskets. Random small block Ford gaskets that I have laying around. But I'm going to go ahead and basically put a value of $50 for those. I think that's kind of fair. So that's my spend as of right now. I know I have some other costs. I'm getting a computer, a new ECU from Payne & Bullock. I don't know how much he's going to charge me for that yet, but that's the computer I'm going to need to run this. And then I also know that I'm probably going to have some other little things here and there for the fuel system, because I'm going to have to adapt the steel lines into something in order to get to this fuel rail intake, standard OEM stock fuel rail on the GT40P intake. So I know I'm going to have some other little costs associated with that. But as we sit, let's go ahead and clean off this interior stuff, because all that is done. Okay. We are sitting at... Do you guys put 1 or 2 crosses on your dollar sign? I don't know. I always do too. But we are sitting at $2,324.31. Not too bad. Now, the key will be if all the other little pieces will keep me under $3,000. All right, that's what I got. Car's on the ground, making big progress. I think I'm going to do a little bit of work on the engine tonight. I'm waiting on piston rings. Like I said, I had to order them in because the ones I had originally ordered were for a 351 Windsor and not a 302. So I think they're going to be here tomorrow, which is Thursday, April whatever. And but I'm going to kind of continue working on the cylinder heads, because I've been working on kind of refreshing those just on my own time. And so I'm going to kind of continue working on those while I can. And that way then when the piston rings get here tomorrow, I can go and get them file fit, pistons in, and get a little short block together, and maybe even a long block. We'll see. And then that's also where some costs might come in, is figuring out the accessory drive from the Crown Vic, compatible with what I have from the truck accessory drive. So I have to figure out what I'm going to have to do to adapt or merge those two together, basically. So that's where we stand. Oh, probably also going to have a radiator as well, because the stock radiator, I'm going to want to run something with a little bit more cooling capabilities. Yeah, so that's where we stand. Thank you all. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's excited for the Dragon's Drive season to start. I know I am. I guess it's already started, but for me, the circuit kind of kicks it off. It looks like that's probably the only Dragon Drive event I'm going to make in 2026, unless I can toss in some weekend events here and there, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for the circuit. Now we just got to make sure we can make it. So I'm going to get back to work. You guys as well. And we'll see you in the next one. All right. Take care.